And we're here, guys. Welcome to the Smack Raw Podcast, your one-stop shop for all your wrestling recaps, reviews, pay-per-views, predictions, all that other good stuff. My name is Vince. I'll be your host today. Today, I'm joined by Aaron Real Petty, one half of the Mean Jelly Beans YouTube channel. What is up, my man?
What's good, Vince? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm nailing these intros. I'm getting everything in order. I love it, man. I'm hitting my strides just like NXT. I feel like NXT is starting to hit their stride going into NXT Tampa Bay. But before we get started on today's show, let's get the plugs out of the way real quick. Make sure you like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter. So go ahead and do that. Like, comment, and subscribe if you are on YouTube. If you're listening to us on the audio realm, go ahead and download this episode, give it a listen, and join our Discord channel. We have a Discord. We love to talk wrestling with you guys, so go ahead, join us. We can talk wrestling during the live shows. And on Twitter, follow and reach to us on Twitter at SmackRawPod. You can find me at SCSVince. Aaron Real Petty, you can find him at Mr.8984. Did I get that all correct, my man?
Yeah, don't forget to hit us up with questions. Hashtag Smacked NXT. What's good?
Yeah, Smacked NXT. We're trying to get that hashtag going, make it a thing. You know, get our own hashtag in there. Try to separate us from the rest of the shows here on the Smack Raw podcast. But overall, let's start off by giving tonight's show a letter grade. From like in terms of a letter grade, what would you grade tonight's episode?
Definitely be an A for me. I mean, 2 cage matches. I mean, they advanced all the shit we talked last week.
Mm-hmm.
Advanced everything in 2 hours. Like, definitely get an A for me.
Oh, no, yeah. I loved it, too. I'm going to be a little bit more harsher. I'm going to give it like a B+, A-, around that area. Not necessarily a solid A, not necessarily A+, because they probably could have done a couple more stuff. I got a couple stuff to critique, but we'll get to that once we get to that segment of the show. But we started off with things hot. We had 2 cage matches, and we had the very first one, Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai. Overall, I thought the match was really good. I did want to point out, and I want to ask you, like, given that this is something they were building towards with Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox, do you feel like them adding Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong and putting them in the main event kind of stole these girls' thunder? Because that's how I felt.
I didn't feel that way because, like we said, they've been half-assing this and dragging their feet on this feud since last year. So, to me, like, I feel like it was all right. I think it was a good way to start the show and kind of get everything ramped up to get to the main event and stuff. Like, I was here for it, though. Like, that, I mean, you know how I feel about Tegan Nox. That's my girl.
Right. I don't know. Me personally, I feel like had they not done the second cage match, this would have definitely main evented the show. And that's what I meant by, like, stealing the thunder. So,
yeah. I mean, I feel you where you're coming from on that, but like I said, I mean, they've been mishandling this feud from the beginning, so why would it be any different tonight?
Right. I mean, but they didn't mishandle the match. I thought the match was well done. Yeah. Yeah, so, like, everything about the ending just felt like, so initially to start off the match, it didn't feel like there was a lot of, like, stuff going into it. It wasn't until Tegan Nox got tossed off the top rope by Dakota Kai got tossed off by Tegan Nox, and then they did the cross body off the top of the cage where stuff started to heat up. It was towards the end that stuff picked up. Overall, I love the ending, like you said, and I guess the big question here is, like, is this over? Are we done with Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox, or is because of the way things ended, are we gonna get more of these two?
I think it's gonna keep going. I mean, just because of how it ended. And to be honest, I mean, I've never seen that ending in a cage match. So, I mean, they definitely stepped it up and definitely put on a show. I'm here for it, especially now since they got I always forget her name, but
Raquel.
Once they added her to the feud, I mean, I feel like they got to keep it going at least a few more matches, probably till Takeover, I would say.
I would say the way you can do this is because obviously we had another women's match following this one that was qualifier match for the ladder number 1 contenders match at Takeover. Maybe you add both of these women into the match, and that's how you carry on the feud. You know, because that's one thing that they've done with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. They have yet to have a singles match. I didn't know about this until, like, somebody pointed it out on Twitter. Is that they've made this feud a thing up until now without giving us KO versus Seth Rollins, which started building up at Survivor Series in November. It's a slow burn thing, and I love it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And they're riding it out to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So okay. So like you were saying, it was a very interesting finish. There was a couple of hot spots towards the end. You know, a crossbody into the cage from Tegan Knox because she looked like she was trying to escape the cage, but Raquel Gonzalez was on the outside. So instead of still climbing down, she decided, you know what, I'm gonna do a crossbody on Dakota Kai. Let's see here. At one point, if I'm not mistaken, that's when Tegan Knox tries to leave the cage, and Raquel Gonzalez gets in the way, tries to stop it, close the cage. Dakota goes to strike Tegan, but misses and hits Gonzalez instead. And that's when, instead of, she tried to escape the cage again, but like Raquel Gonzalez was again stopping Tegan Knox. So Tegan Knox decided, instead, I'm just going to start climbing the cage. This is where I'm like, okay, come on, Tegan, you got to be a little bit more smarter than this. Go to another side of the cage or something.
And she, like, you could tell she was waiting on her to get back up to get there, because she like just stood there and kind of acted like her foot was caught. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
for real. So it was one of those things where it's like, it didn't play out the best because you kind of saw it, like the choreographed part of it, but I liked it still nonetheless because she climbed to the top and she was getting to the top and she was climbing down. She saw that there's no obstacle. Tegan Knox is taken out. She's out of the equation. I mean, Dakota Kai is out of the equation. I don't know why I'm butchering these two ladies' names right now. I'm mixing them up. But Tegan is trying to climb down. Raquel Gonzalez realizes what's happening and she decides, I'm going to go ahead and pull Dakota Kai out into the ring forcibly and have her win the match by, just some James Ellsworth type stuff. And love this because Tegan Knox goes and kicks the cage and hits Raquel Gonzalez and hits Dakota Kai, right? Or did she only get Dakota Kai?
she only got Dakota Kai.
Okay.
Hit her leg and then bounced back.
Okay, so I love that. Oh yeah, because she did. It was Dakota, and it was the injured knee that had the knee brace on there. So okay, so that's what it was. And as Tegan was trying to come down, Raquel realized, well, I can't get Tegan Knox out. So the only thing I can do, I can't get Dakota Kai out. So the only thing I can do is stop Tegan. So she went and grabbed the door and just kind of like pressed her against the cage and the cage door, just like.
She did it with the ref, had the ref's head in between her fucking titties. The first time she was trying to get out, and then the second time she did it, she pinned Tegan Knox up against the cage. That shit was dope. Like, never seen that in a cage match before. So yeah. I'm hype about that. Like, them doing something different, especially the different type of endings and shit you could do. Like, that was pretty damn creative. I fuck with that for sure.
Oh yeah, it was a very creative finish to say the least, and I love that when. Because you see a lot of cage matches, and especially with the cage match being there was going to be 2 cage matches tonight, you needed to separate yourself and just be different from the other cage match, and that just kind of stood out. The ending in of itself stood out.
That's one of my gripes. I was going to say it's the same shit for every NXT cage match. 2 or 3 moves off the top, the crossbody or something off the top. Like, I'm glad that they pulled this out at the end to make it different, because other than that, it was the same damn cage match we've seen in NXT, no matter who it is. Like that crossbody or a moonsault, something off the top, a big move off the top, like standard NXT cage match. So I'm glad they pulled something out at the end, changed it up a little bit. That was definitely dope.
For sure. Loved it, man. Loved it. Thought it was really good. So moving on, we did have Dakota Kai as the winner. Gonzalez played a big factor in this, which is kind of funny because the whole point of the cage match was for like Raquel Gonzalez to not get involved, and she got more involved in this match than she did in their takeover match. So we'll see what happens
later. But I mean, literally, if it's a cage match, that means other people's getting involved.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that tends to be a thing. So they were kind of pointless. It was redundant, I guess, to have the cage in there. But let's move on. We did have the second women's match. It was actually no. I'm skipping ahead some stuff. Sorry, I'm looking over my stuff. Okay, it's the Finn promo next. What you think of the Finn promo?
I mean, it was standard stuff. I mean, I'm here for it regardless, but it was just standard promo. Keep it going since none of them was going to be on TV this week. So
right,
I'm not mad at it.
And I love the way they use Finn. This kind of become his thing. Like whenever he's not there, he just cuts like this very like Prince-esque promo. It's become his like signature thing. Like he's cutting the promo, and at the same time he has like a tablet and he's watching what happened last week while he's giving the promo, which is a nice little touch he had. So the gist of the promo was, this is a game of chess, and in the game of chess, there's a lot of action and reaction. He's usually the one that makes the first move.
Right.
Walter forced his hand though, so he's gonna so Walter, you're gonna be seeing me sooner than you think. Watch for his reaction. So obviously this is slowly building that Walter Finn feud, and it's kind of hard to like have a weekly thing because Walter is in the UK. He's not gonna be in Full Sail every week. So it was a nice little thing to like sprinkle into this
Right.
feud. Maybe we see Finn show up at UK. You
That's what I
never
was about to say. Like he said, watch my next move. I think that's probably why he wasn't there this week because he's over there.
probably maybe that could be the thing. So next up, we had another video. It was the Rhea Ripley Charlotte hype video. They were hyping up the Mania match. Nothing too much in here. It was just like trying to get some fan sympathy. Just get like the fan crowd behind Rhea Ripley.
It worked on me because I'm not gonna lie. Like I want to say I've been like not liking or falling out on Rhea, but this definitely got me back into her and like seeing her from the start, and then just realizing like how fucking young she is. Like she
Right.
really like 23 years old. Like she's about to be at WrestleMania. So like it kind of got me back into her hydrant. I didn't realize how smoking fucking hot she was at that first May Young thing. I didn't even
Right.
realize that was hers.
Right. No, that's one thing that I always gave props to Rhea Ripley for because she was in the first Mae Young Classic, and this is the one thing about the video package that I really liked was
Yeah,
that she made allude to the fact that a lot of people were saying she looked like a mini
like
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
She was
Yeah,
another Charlotte, and she didn't like that, and then she changed up and became more herself. And then the next year at the Mae Young Classic, she was completely different, and that's
it
one
got
thing.
me.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I liked about the whole Rhea Ripley thing. They're slowly giving me reasons to care more about this feud, and that's what
Yeah.
they should be doing. I think it was more of a case of they had to do a takeover, so it was like a stopgap feud, unfortunately, which what Bianca is. And that's another thing. I don't want to get too much into it because I'll just sit here and ramble, but it's just disappointing to see that Bianca was just a stopgap feud for Rhea
Yeah.
Ripley to go into the Charlotte thing. I would like to hope that that wasn't the plan, and they just called an audible and they decided, you know what, we're gonna do Charlotte versus Rhea, and that's who she's gonna challenge at the Rumble because it was supposed to be Shayna to win the Rumble initially. So I'm guessing they just called an audible, and Bianca was just a casualty in this situation. I'm hoping that they actually had plans for Bianca at Takeover, but now are changing things up.
I don't know. I think from the beginning this is how it was supposed to be, and they just kind of threw Bianca in it because of how hyped she got at Royal Rumble. And I think this, like you said, she ended up being a casualty in all this. When I feel like they could have protected her a little bit more and kept her away from it altogether, and
Right,
maybe set something else up on her side where she didn't lose some of that luster, some of that steam from the Royal Rumble. And that's. I mean, I know they did what they could and they tried to make it work as best they could, but I mean, to me, they wasted the Royal Rumble. You didn't have Shayna win it, which everyone knew that's what you should have did and what the outcome should have been. So then you pump her up, get her out of there. You don't do anything with her. You have her thrown in this feud with them, but then she ends up being nothing at the end of it. Like to me, it was a waste of time for Bianca for real. And like I said, they wasted all that momentum and shit and everything they had built up from the Royal Rumble.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a fair take. I can see where you're coming from. My only hope is that she gets introduced or it gets added to the ladder match at
Yeah.
Takeover, and then later comes up to Raw. I think that's the next move because I've been saying this. If you're
Yeah.
not gonna put the title on Bianca Belair anytime soon, then move her on to Raw or SmackDown where she can get some gold. Because she's done everything she can do if in NXT if she can't even get the title. If she can't even get the title, so
She had
that
she had talked about that also. She was on Corey Graves' podcast a couple of weeks ago,
right,
and she talked about going to Raw because her husband was there and everything like that, and how she would be definitely there for it because she gets to spend more time with her husband. So I think I'm hoping that's what the reasoning is behind them kind of putting her on the back burner shit because
right.
we all know after Mania that week after Mania is where the call ups and everything happen. So I'm definitely hoping that she gets that for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you could go ahead, especially if Charlotte goes on to lose that match against Rhea. You can build on a feud with Charlotte and Bianca, so she has something to do on Raw the minute she gets over there.
Literally, and I think that might have been like some of the planning behind it, where at least we have that in our back pocket
Right.
once we pull her up.
All right, so let's move on to the next match. It was Shotzi Blackheart versus Chelsea Green, and then ladder match qualifier. Overall, it was a relatively short match. I was hoping for Shotzi Blackheart to win. That was my pick. But once I saw Chelsea Green's music hit, and now I'm like, okay, Chelsea's probably gonna win. Overall, what you thought of the match, and who did you want to win this match? Not who you thought was going to.
It was a shit match, and I actually did want Shotzi or whatever. I always fuck her name up. I actually did want her to win because I felt like she would add a different element to the ladder match. Like I did not think that Chelsea was gonna win, but there was a sequence in this match where I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" It was like maybe halfway through the match, she picked up Shotzi, had her like she was gonna DDT her, and then she just let her up and stood there and stuck her face out like, "Go ahead and hit me." I was like, "What the hell is going on right here?" Like the whole just like disjointed and didn't feel like I don't want to take it out or say either one of them was at fault. I just feel like the time they were given and everything, like I just felt like the match just was off. So like it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, I think it was more of a thing where like both women aren't necessarily like in ring generals. I would say like they're both good in what they do, but I feel like they're not like a Shayna, they're not like a Bianca, they're not a Charlotte Flair. You know, they're not the higher tier level of talent. They can just go in there and call like a 7-minute match or whatever they had, and just have a decent match. Also, too, the time. That has to play a lot of factor into it. A lot of people can't go in there and have a quick 5 to 7 minute match and have a really good one. Because it's so limited, they can't tell the story. They're rushing stuff. Stuff comes off clunky and messy, and maybe that's what happened here.
Me, that's exactly what it looked like happened. It looked like they had, because it was such a short match, it looked like they had everything planned out that they were going to do, and it looked like they just missed their cues.
Probably.
Supposed to go. That's why I said I wanted to shit on the match and shit on the people, both the girls in it, but where they were at, condensed time, 2 big ass matches on this match.
3 like, actually. Once we get to that tag match,
I'm saying 3, so I'm not even gonna hold it against them. I feel like they, like you said, you can't put 2 people that aren't ring generals and used to doing that. They put them in a shitty spot to begin with. So like I don't even want to shit on this match or talk shit about it.
Oh,
I think
for sure.
Their fault.
I mean, you can go ahead and put like AJ Styles with like Cedric Alexander and give them like 5 to 7 minutes, and they might be able to pull things off, but they might not. Just because, so like even like an AJ Styles type guy might not be able to pull off like an amazing match with only 5 or 7 minutes. So it's a shame that they weren't given so much time, but I think they'll be okay. Going forward. Obviously, they have big things planned for Chelsea Green if she's going to be involved in that match. And also, too, you know, Shotzi Blackheart, she's taking over the NXT universe. They love her.
And I like both of them. Like I said, I mean, I'm still not really sold on Shotzi, but I see that she has that it thing, whatever that is. Like you could tell she definitely has it, and she captures the crowd for sure. And Chelsea, like she's a really big athletic girl. Like if they can actually give her some time in the ring and let her kind of flesh out her in-ring style, like I think that she's got a nice little future ahead of her. Especially
sure.
They clearly have plans for her. So like I just think they need to give her more time. Both of them really, but I think they'll both be all right.
Gotcha. All right. So let's move on to the vignettes. Those eerie vignettes. Did you catch it this time?
Yeah, Killer Cross for sure.
That's Killer Cross, right?
Yeah, the end is here and all that stuff. The apocalypse, it's Killer Cross.
Yeah, exactly. They've been saying TikTok. There's time stuff, and that stuff that Killer Cross been tweeting. That's Killer Cross.
Yeah.
Okay, so just wanted to make sure to see if you had caught it or not. But let's move on. Yeah, we have Keith Lee next, dude. One thing I want to say is that he's so eloquent on the mic. He's so good on the mic. God.
It's just not fair to when he's in the ring with some of those guys that aren't where he's at. Like, but my thing is, to this week, I'll give you your credit. You called it. You said they were setting it up for 3 or 4 different contenders for it, and I'm here for it. And my thing was, somebody actually got heat and was booed. Like they actually gave it the camera. A real heel. They gave him some real heel heat. Like they got to do something to play up on. They got to give him something. Attack Keith Lee, something, steal his belt, something. They got to give him something to build on. Them actually get him having real damn heat. Like they have to.
Yeah, and I guess like one thing that I saw some people saying on Twitter was I have never heard the crowd boo someone like that since Heel
Yeah,
Champa.
yeah, literally. Like they were, he couldn't get it. You couldn't even hear what he was saying in the ring.
That reminded me. You remember that one time where like Vicky Guerrero and Dolph Ziggler were in the ring with John Cena, and the crowd kept booing Vicky every time she tried to open her mouth.
Yeah. Like I'm like people always look at that as a bad thing. That's not. That's what you want when if you're a heel. Like that's the point. That's the whole point of being a bad guy. You want the crowd to turn on. And I have not. I can't remember the last time the crowd was like that for a heel for anybody really.
Right.
Supposed to be bad. Like I'm here for it, but again, they got to do something to capitalize. I know they're gonna do something stupid and not give him anything. It's gonna
Right.
be I have a 5-star match now instead of letting them tear some shit up or hurting somebody. So
Right. I
I don't
mean,
know.
we'll see
Yeah,
what happens because they did announce that it was going to be Cameron Grimes versus Keith Lee for the North American title next week.
yeah.
That was the gist. That was the part that Cameron Grimes was trying to get out. Was that he talked to Regal and he agreed to like let him have that match. And we'll see what happens next week. I know these guys are going to have a really really good showing. I I doubt that he'll get the title, but I don't know what's going to happen at the end. You're right. Maybe a Damian Priest comes in and stops the match
I don't think it's gonna
because
be a full match. I think it's gonna be a run in.
yeah, maybe. I mean, I kind of want to see things kind of like get the win there, and then he could always come back and pull a Dijakovic and be like, I'm not through with you. You know, do something in the match where yeah, it's not necessarily Keith Lee capitalizing on something, but if something goes a different way, then maybe Cameron Grimes gets the win. Just like they were alluding to Dijakovic, if he doesn't get the lower back injury, maybe he hits his feast your eyes, and then he actually wins the match.
I think it's gonna end up being a fatal 4-way for the title.
Yeah, so I think that's where they might be going. It's a fatal 4-way for the North American title at Takeover, and that's
Yep.
probably the safe thing to do. That's probably what you do there, and then from there you can spiral into like a smaller feud with Damian Priest after Takeover. So okay, next up we have your boy Austin Theory, and he's back. He's like in the outside area getting interviewed. I forgot by who. Swerve interrupts him. Gist of this whole thing is that now this is the setup of how we got Swerve versus Austin Theory, and it was Austin Theory saying he was already the greatest NXT superstar in history when he hasn't really done anything. Swerve's like, bro, you've only had 4 matches. You're not the greatest of in NXT history. Come on, like I'll show you. Like, oh, let's have a match tonight. And before we get into the match, I just want to say I'm warming. Like this is the first time I've seen Austin Theory play up a little bit more of that heel character that you've been mentioning and involved, and I'm feeling it, man. I'm with it. I'm all on board.
He is. I told you I mean, they'll definitely get to prove it more, but he is. He's got it all. He's literally got every tool in the book. I mean, he's got the move set. He's got the charisma. He can actually talk on the mic. He can wrestle with anybody or any style. Like NXT is gonna, if they're smart, they need to be propping him up to be the next heel champion or the next something after all these other guys get called.
Bro, he's got the look. Like you said, he's the total package. He's got everything, man. And here's the thing, because initially they were just bringing him up and he was just doing like regular matches, no build up, nothing. But they let him get on the mic and just give us a little bit of that heel talk. And I was with it. I loved it. And then they did the little hype package later in the show.
Yeah. I told you, like I said, once he gets a chance on the mic, like when they really give him some like promo time, like there's maybe 2 or 3 people on NXT that can really that's better than him on the mic. And I know that's me saying a lot with all the guys that can talk, but I'm telling you, like him on the mic he's next level for sure.
Oh, definitely. I'm on board. I can't wait to see more of Austin Theory. We'll talk about him more once we get to this match. But before we got to that, we had Undisputed Era versus Only Lorcan. This is a match I think was just set up because like Lorcan and Birch kind of just called them out or something. Or maybe they just set it up on Twitter. I'm not exactly sure. But
What happened?
I can't remember why we got it, but I'm glad we got it because it was a banger of a match. It was amazing.
Yeah, we were going back and forth in the group chat. Like Kyle O'Reilly is just every time he comes out there, I mean, you can tell he's got that it factor that we're talking about too. Like it's just something about him. You can't take your eyes off of him when he's wrestling. I mean, his charisma, his move set. Like I put in the group chat, like him versus Daniel Bryan will be fucking fire,
Oh,
yo.
for sure. And here's the thing: he's just untapped potential. He's like, because he could be a top babyface or a great heel.
Yeah.
He's just perfect. Like his facial expressions, he's good in the ring. He's solid on the mic. The guy
Mhm.
has a great look to him. Like
Yeah.
I honestly, I can argue that once they undisputed era, God forbid, once they break up, I feel like he might be the breakout star, and he could be even bigger than Adam Cole if given the right booking.
Yeah. I I I wouldn't go that far. I don't think he'd be as bigger because I think Adam Cole just has more swag and more personality. But I think that that would be a nice like rivalry, like we got back in ROH of them two going against each other and playing
Right.
that door.
I mean, we could see it. I mean, I'm probably overhyping it, but I'm just saying he has potential to be just
I'm gonna,
as good, if not on the level of Adam Cole.
I think so too. And I mean, and really the great part about them is that you can keep them together as a tag team and still push them just like they do with the New Day and Kofi. Like they can still be Red Dragon or whatever tag team you want them to be, and still Kyle doing his thing on the side too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So overall, though, the match again, like we can't sit here and just like call it like move for move, like spot for spot, but it was really really good. I enjoyed it. I have a couple. I have a question. First off, Bobby Fish on the mic. It was fire. I thought he was good. That was the first time I've heard him speak, and like I was like, okay, Bobby, do you like? I felt that promo. I liked it. But I guess my big question is like, Only Lorcan, Danny Burch, they always have these great matches, but they aren't a top act in NXT or 205 Live or whatever. Do you think they'll ever get there, or and if they do, what will it take to get there, or do you think they'll always be just those guys that
I
put on
think
solid matches and
yeah,
nothing
I think
more?
just those worker guys. I mean, they're mid card for life. Like it's nothing. I don't think it's anything they could do to even get to that point. And like you said, they put on good matches with everybody. And sometimes I mean, it's just like with a basketball team. You need that utility guy that can do a little bit of everything, where he doesn't do one thing great, but he does a lot of things good. And that's kind of like their role that they play. And they're everywhere. They're on 205 Live. They're on NXT. They're in NXT UK. I mean, it's all right to have a Swiss Army knife tag team like that. That if you need to get somebody over and you want a banging ass match on top
Right.
of it, those are the guys you go to.
True, but I mean, put yourself in their shoes. Wouldn't at a certain point you just be like, you know what? Let me go somewhere else. There's so much wrestling everywhere now. You could just be like, maybe we can be a top act somewhere else. Maybe we can actually be a top tag team. Like at least I would say like, do you ever see them being a tag team champions at the very least?
Maybe like some transitional stuff, but also on that going that route. But I mean, in the WWE, Bertram's probably old as hell. Not really, it doesn't have that much time left.
Mm-hmm.
Only Lorcan is a little bit younger, and like he actually is a dope singles wrestler. Like he was a singles wrestler on the Indies and stuff. But I just think that where they're at now, like it probably sucks somewhat. But think about it, they're always on TV. They're always on a show. Like
True.
they're never not sitting on the sideline. Like they're literally on one of the shows every damn week fighting somebody. Like it's not like so. I guess it could be worse. I mean, but literally they're on all three shows. They've been on NXT UK. They've been on 205 Live. They're
Mm-hmm.
on NXT at least once a month, if not more. Like I mean, compared to some of the people that are just sitting on the sidelines, like I think they're doing good for themselves.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that they might be a team that gets used better on main roster, right? Or on Raw or SmackDown. I know that's very few and far between, but they might be those tag teams that are kind of generic in NXT. They go to Raw or SmackDown. Vince gives them some kind of weird gimmick, and they blow up.
And that's what I was gonna say too. A lot of it is too their gimmick. Like they don't have a gimmick. They're just two guys that fight. Like they don't have an actual gimmick. Like they don't have any. They're two bald guys that
Yeah, right.
that's it. That's their gimmick. Two bald guys.
I mean, I think they might be perfect in a stable, like the stable
Yeah.
tag team. Maybe I don't know. We gotta find something for them because I really like them, and I don't want them to just be like relegated to being the guys, the gatekeepers of the tag team division, so to speak. So let's go back to the end of the match. Undisputed Era did win. They cut a solid promo by both Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish were both really good on the mic. They basically say that like bruiserweights, they basically just got lucky. That was a fluke, and they do come out. They come out and what was the gist of what Matt Riddle was saying?
I don't even think he got a chance to say anything. I thought he just said like bro, and then fucking the grizzled young veterans took their asses out.
Yeah, cause I know he said something, but I completely forgot what they said. Cause
It's
like
like
not
one, and then they got their ass kicked.
yeah.
It wasn't a promo. I can tell you that much.
So he just maybe got a couple words in, maybe a sentence or two, and then that's when Grizzly Young Vets came out, took out Broserweights. They got on the mic and they're like, "No, we're not gonna wait for Mr. Regal to make these matches. We're gonna come here and basically take what's ours, and we're gonna be known as the best in the world. You know, like the world's number one." So
Yeah,
so I love it because like that was Gibson's thing over in the UK is like Liverpool's number one, and he's bringing that over here, the world's number one tag team. I love it. It's a nice little dynamic. We're not just gonna do Broserweights and Yui all over again. I don't like when they do that too often, when they just rehash the matches over and over and over again until they just run course. But adding Grizzled Young Vets to the mix can allow them to like get the titles at Takeover and transition into something with Broserweights, or I don't know what would be next for Yui, because I feel like right now with WrestleMania coming up and the reports that they're going to do another superstar shakeup after Mania with when all three brands are going to be involved, maybe what they're trying to do, at least on the NXT side, is like, let's get the titles off of UE in case they do move on to other shows, because if all our titles are on UE, we're screwed. We got to get the titles off of UE, and then once we know where everybody shakes up, we can start to put the titles back on them if they stay on NXT. I don't want them to leave NXT, but I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Heyman finesses Triple H and gets them on Raw or something.
me personally, I want them to go. It's a catch-22 because I'm scared that once they go, they're gonna get shit on
Right.
and end up splitting them up and doing some dumb shit wherever they go. But I feel like what else? There's nothing left for them to do in NXT. I mean, they're huge fish in a small pond, and then it kind of too makes a stopgap. Like it blocks a lot of other teams and a lot of other people from moving up the ladder because they've been there so long and they're at the top of the card all the time.
Right.
I know it sounds like I'm like hating on them, but I love them. I'm their biggest fans there, but I feel like especially if you keep them together as a unit going to somewhere like SmackDown, I think they'd be better off in Raw, but SmackDown like having a heel faction running through all them people and shit, like I feel like that would be the best place for them.
Right. I mean, I think Raw, like the way they're doing booking the show, I feel like they'd fit better, but I feel like SmackDown would need them more. I feel like we always have this discussion about Yui, but here's the thing: I feel like Undisputed Era at this point feel NXT. They embody what NXT is, and I feel like they'd be a big missing hole in NXT if they leave. And I feel like them along with like I don't know, like a Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, at least one of them, they feel like staples here in NXT. And I feel like if you're gonna have like these three separate brands, you need to have your staples. Like back in the Ruthless Aggression era, SmackDown had Undertaker, they had JBL, they had Kurt Angle, they had John Cena. Then after the and Raw had Evolution, they had Kane, they had Trish Stratus. You have to have your staples in your brands, and I feel like if you're gonna move them to Raw, like that's fine. If that's you're gonna do better stuff with them, but if not, I'd say keep them in NXT. That's your staple of the show.
My only disagreement with that is the fact that you have so much young talent down there. They're stopping, and it's not their fault because, like you said, they are the staples. But my thing is that you have these voids on Raw and SmackDown, and then you have them kind of holding up the line of all these people they've signed to have down there ready to debut. It's time for them to go. I mean, and like I said, the only reason I said I don't think they should go to Raw is because Seth Rollins has the Messiah thing, and they pretty much have. I mean, they got that locked in. That's their faction there or whatever. There's nothing in SmackDown, and then you also will get to see Riley and Fish inserted into that tag team division with the Usos.
Oh man, that would be fire.
You know what I'm saying? Like SmackDown needs them. They need like a jolt, and not just a jolt, a heel jolt to come in because there's no heels on SmackDown at all. It's the Fiend. That's it. The Fiend and Corbin and them. There's no like real star power after that. So like I feel like injecting UE there. I mean it's a home run. I mean depending on what Bruce pictured, if he has them fucking being cheerleaders or something. with his whack ass. I mean, other
Don't
than
don't
that,
don't don't even say it, man. You gonna jinx it. And he gonna end up doing that. They gonna make him the Spirit Squad 2.0 over there on SmackDown.
that man is still living in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, bro.
All right, so we'll talk more UE once we get to the main event because it was pretty good. Let's move on to Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Austin Theory. Theory worked heel, which is something that I wanted to see something, especially after you mentioned it to me. I think it's clicking for me now. Swerve, I'm starting to get more behind Swerve more. They're starting to let him be more himself. We're seeing enough of him now that we're like used to him. We know what to expect from him. I guess my question for you here, besides of whether or not you liked the match and like what you thought of it, is: are we watching the future of NXT between these two guys? Could these be the next two top acts in NXT?
I think so. And my thing was they were kind of hinting at they were doing a soft heel turn for Swerve. If you'd have to know his history and like from Evolve and everything, his matches with Matt Riddle and everything, like he started doing that move. That was his heel finisher.
The arm breaker thing, right?
Arm breaker thing, yeah.
Oh man, I love that, dude. It looks vicious.
I know, and like even that face and that scowl and everything afterwards, I'm like, y'all need another heel. This would be the dude to do it because I'm telling you, like he to me, he's better as a heel too because he's so corny and shit as is, and that as a baby face trying to be that. That's not really him. He's that cocky, like super swagged out, like you know what I'm saying. Like I think he'll be better as a heel. And then Austin Theory, I mean, you already know how I feel about him. I've already been standing for him the last like 2 weeks.
I mean, dude. I mean, if there's one match you go and watch, go watch this one. Like this one really stood out to me. It really did feel like we were watching the future of NXT. Like these two top guys. That's what it felt like. Austin Theory did get the win. He hit his finish, the ATL, with one arm, which was impressive. He picked up. I mean, Swerve is already a small, skinny guy to begin with, but he picked him up with one hand, hit his finish. I love that, like that fireman's carry into the cutter. Loved it.
Yeah, like I said, and that's just that he did 2 of it. He's got one more move. He didn't even do. Like I mean, he's got the bag, bro. Both of them. And then that back kick that Swerve did to him in the corner, like. That match was, I mean, everything. And then the Rolling Thunder, what did he do? It was the Rolling Thunder drop kick that Theory did out there. Like, I mean, I could watch this match all day, every day. Like, I'm here for it.
Yeah, it felt like an involved match almost. It felt like something you'd watch on the indies, like something they put together on the fly. I liked it, man. The chemistry was there. I don't know if they worked with each other in Involved or elsewhere, but
it wasn't a lot. I think it was maybe like a match or 2, but they crossed paths. They were there at the same time.
Okay, yeah, because it felt like they had some chemistry there. Like they've known each other in the past. So that's something that I took from it. So I know you were saying that maybe they were teasing something with Swerve with that. I don't know if they're necessarily going to like turn him heel, because if they turn him heel, we might just have a shit ton of heels on NXT, because you have UE, you have Finn Balor, you have Austin Theory, who is now becoming a heel. You have Cameron Grimes. You have Damian Priest. You have Johnny Gargano, who, by the way, we're going to talk about him in a sec. And then you're talking about Swerve. That might be a little bit too many heels, and we're going to need a little bit more baby faces on that end.
That would be true if this wasn't NXT.
Yeah. We're not going to get into that one. We're going to leave that alone. We're going to leave that one alone.
That would be true if this wasn't NXT.
Okay. We're going to leave that.
Mentioned only 2 real heels, so.
Okay.
We'll leave that there.
All right, we're gonna leave that alone. We're not gonna unpack that. We'll leave that for a separate show or whatever. We'll move on to the Johnny interview with Morrow. Dude, this was fire. This was amazing. It was great. He didn't really explain why. He kept like getting in Morrow's face every time he asked him why. Dude, I love this. And like all I could think was like, wow, heel Johnny Gargano is really clicking for me. And my question to you is, first off, tell me what you thought about the entire like interview segment, and 2, is heel Gargano better than face Ciampa?
You know me, how I feel about this. I thought it was a terrible idea turning him heel, but I'm not gonna lie, this got me into it. I mean, because he was chicken shit heel, but not, and he was like fighting back the urge. Like that was the best part. To me, it was him fighting back the urge to fucking smack Morrow. He just kept like sitting on his hands, like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do what everyone thinks I'm gonna do and flip out. I'm just gonna chill. But I'm here for it. And yes, heel Gargano is better than face Ciampa.
Definitely. And here's the thing. I feel like that interview alone got me a little bit more hype for their match. Not because I want to see it again, but because I want to see more of heel Johnny. Not necessarily I want to see this feud continue. Because it again it's just a rehash of what we've seen in the past. And yeah, the roles are reversed, but a lot of times that doesn't always work and it's not the same thing. You can't really just continue a feud by reversing the roles. Because they tried to do that with Seth and Dean when Dean was the heel and Seth was the babyface and it just didn't click. Maybe they're doing this because one of them are leaving NXT after Mania, and they want to get this match out of the way because Ciampa, and I forgot to mention this on last week's show, Ciampa was basically saying there can't be the two of us can't be here in NXT. One of us has to go.
Well, if it's going to be Johnny, I mean, because Ciampa, I mean, all the reports and everything pretty much said that he's NXT for life. He's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, it would be Gargano, which I wouldn't mind. I mean, again, he's another one. Like he's a big fish in a small pond. Like
Right.
I think, and the thing about him is now he's showing that he can do anything you need him to do. So he can be white meat babyface on Raw or go to SmackDown and be a heel. Like that's the part I like, that he's showing that he can. He's got everything in that bag, boy. That's versatility is the name of the game. The more jobs you can do, the more valuable you are.
Let me just pitch this: Johnny Gargano versus Daniel Bryan. Do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Move him to SmackDown. I could see him being a big thing, especially with the Johnny Wrestling nickname. You could even use that as a nickname as a cocky, arrogant heel, just like Johnny Manziel. You know, he was Johnny Football. Carry all over to that, and you know they can market him as like, oh, this is Johnny Wrestling on Fox. You know, so he could fit on SmackDown perfectly.
I think, like I said, and then if you need to, straight white meat babyface on Raw. Imagine him getting his head kicked off by damn, I can't, Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley, like tossing him around, like
No, for sure.
go nuts for him.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's very versatile, and he's. I know I've said this in the past. I haven't mentioned it on the show in a minute, but he does remind me of Daniel Bryan, a young Daniel Bryan. I feel like he can do a lot of what Daniel can do. He can go in the ring, he can connect with the crowd as a babyface, and he can also, you know, just again tear it off as a heel. He killed it in that promo. I wasn't sold on heel Johnny initially, but he's winning me over. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Personally, I think he's the best babyface in the whole damn company, to be honest. Nobody gets that pure babyface reaction that he gets. Like,
I don't know, man. I feel like Daniel Bryan is still up there.
I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, he is, but I think Daniel Bryan is more organic as a heel, to be honest. But I'm talking about when Johnny's getting his ass kicked and he's crawling on the mat trying to get to the rope, like nobody gets a reaction.
Oh, well, within the ring, inside the ring, I think he's the best. But in terms of a character outside the ring as a whole package, I think Daniel Bryan's the more, white meat babyface out of the two. But, you know, hey, apples and oranges, man. They're both great. Again, all right, so let's move on to the main event, and then we'll wrap up the show from there. We have Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong in the second cage match of the night. Again, I felt like this kind of like took away from Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai because their feud has been building up a little bit longer, and I felt like they kind of just like fast forwarded on this feud because you could have gone a couple more weeks going into the whole family dynamic of things, having Velveteen target Roddy Strong's family and making things a little bit more uncomfortable than they should be, really blending the lines and blurring the lines between heel and face on the Velveteen's part. But they fast-tracked this feud. The match was solid. I thought it was really good. You had Marina Shafir Ashley come in and help out Roddy Strong, throwing the candlestick at some point. The match started off hot. It was fast. Got right into it. I don't think they had a better match than Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai, but the ending was better than Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai because of what happened afterwards. And because you realize they're like, oh, snap. This wasn't about Roddy the entire time. This was about Adam Cole. So tell me about this match, man.
That's what I was going to say. We can skip to that part if you want. I mean, because the match itself, it is what it is. It was a standard NXT cage match. The dope part was Roddy's wife coming in and sliding a kendo stick in and talking to him from the outside. That was something dope. I like that. Like, it was a little bit different. But for the most part, I mean, if you want, we can just jump right on into to the good shit if you want.
Yeah, man. Let's do it. So at one point, it is Velveteen Dream that he goes to the top. Actually, the way this got set up because Roddy was trying to climb up, and then he pulls the trunks down on Roddy, exposes his ass, and tosses him to the to inside the ring. Goes and climbs to the top of the cage. Looks like he's about to hit the Purple Rainmaker. That's when the rest of the Undisputed Era come out, and the shenanigans start. I knew that this was gonna happen. I just kind of was hoping we got a more of a cleaner match. I feel like you could have done Roddy versus Dream a little bit more, but it looks like we're going in a different direction. And this is something I kind of felt like they were doing because we didn't know what Adam Cole was gonna be doing at Tampa at Takeover, and it looks like we know now.
Give me my dub.
Yeah, that was all you, man. That was your call. But go ahead, walk us through the ending of this match and what we going.
Yeah, this is the part that I'm hyped about because this is the first time I've ever seen in a cage match this happen. When there's 4 guys climbing up trying to get in the cage, why are you not whooping their ass with every weapon you have in the cage? Mm-hmm. This is the first time it actually made sense. Dream was like, bruh, I'm not letting y'all come in here and fuck me up 4-on-1. He was kicking their ass, fucking using a kendo stick. Like, it's the first time I've ever seen in a cage match when something like that happens. They don't just let the other guys come in and kick the shit out of you. Like, he was like, nah, y'all are not coming in here. And I'm here for it. Like, I called it. I didn't think it would happen this soon.
Right.
I thought it might have been after WrestleMania, or at least closer to it. But I kind of had a feeling this is what they originally wanted before he got injured. And like you said, the rise of Keith Lee, him having that long injury, I think just like a lot of things got in the way, but I feel like this was always the plan.
Right.
And then using the Roddy stuff was just a way because the title was out of it now.
Mm-hmm.
The Roddy stuff was just another way to slingshot it in straight to where they were going. I loved how, because we were just talking shit about it last week, how we didn't know how you're gonna have your main belt. We don't have anything going in this close to Takeover and everything. But I'm glad that they pulled this one out their bag. I mean, it was a little sneak shit, but I dig it.
Right. So basically, like you were saying, the rest of the Undisputed Era, they tried to get involved. Velveteen Dream fights them off. Adam Cole manages to get inside the ring, which is perfect. All in the Dream's plans.
How did he get in? I didn't even notice that. I thought he was one of the guys. I thought that he was one of the ones he knocked off. I didn't even see Adam Cole.
He knocked him off initially, but like while he's fighting off Fish and O'Reilly, he sneaks in on the corner and he gets into the top rope, and then he gets like tossed. And he gets gorilla pressed into the ring, and that's when Velveteen Dream basically just throws the match. He tosses Roddy out or lets him win, and closes the cage and locks it. That was his plan. That's why he wanted the cage out. He didn't want a cage match with Roddy to like finish things off with him. He wanted to get Roddy into his head and play mind games with him, get him in a situation where he agrees to this match. That's why he was targeting his family so much, because he wanted him to like agree to this kind of cage match so he can lure Adam Cole in and strike Adam Cole and get that NXT title and advance from North American Championship to the NXT title. Velveteen Dream is playing chess out there while everybody else is playing tic-tac-toe. And that's a shout out to my man Matt from the Smacking It Raw podcast. He tweeted about that shit. I love that little reference because he said tic-tac-toe. That shit made me laugh. Because it's true. Velveteen Dream's out here playing chess. He's thinking 10 moves ahead, and y'all over here playing tic-tac-toe. You guys aren't even playing checkers anymore. Y'all over here still playing like elementary school games.
This is the most wrestling, like top of the line wrestling shit you could ever think of. Like the most roundabout way you could think of to get a fucking title shot. Like this is the reason why I love wrestling, because out of all of this shit, like, bro, all you had to do, you could have just came at Adam Cole to begin with. Just forget the Roger Strong. Like, you went through all of this. It's like this is why I love wrestling, because the most convoluted, most ridiculous shit always works out and gets you to where you need to be.
Right. And I feel like it was a thing where if Roddy Strong was still North American champion, he'd target Roddy first, get that out of the way, and then go after Cole. But because Roddy lost the title, he's like, well, I already beat Roddy. I've already beat Roddy. There's nothing left for me to do. I want something. I want gold around my waist. The only gold that they have, I want to get revenge for them taking me out, because it wasn't just Roddy. It was the Undisputed Era as a whole that took him out. So no better way to like get revenge on the Undisputed Era than to end the prophecy with the final piece being Adam Cole losing that NXT title. And what I loved about this thing is that in the entire time, Velveteen had Roderick Strong in the Tree of Woe watching this whole shit go down. I loved it.
Yeah, he had to put the belt in his face. He was like, look at what I'm about to do. That was my favorite part.
Oh man.
Hit him with
So
the title belt.
so let me ask you this. I know you were wondering this whole time. Do you feel like Velveteen Dream is a face, or do you still feel like those are heel tactics?
This type of shit, no. This is what a face should do. This is what you should do when it's 4-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
That type of stuff, like I feel like a lot of people misunderstood when I said what I thought was heel tactics or not. Like this type of stuff, yes, you're supposed
The targeting the family is what you didn't like.
Yeah, the targeting the family stuff, like that's some Randy Orton,
Yeah.
Brian, you know what I'm saying? Like that's heel shit. This though is what you're supposed to do. Lock yourself in the cage, put your back up against the wall, and take out any nigga comes next to you, bro. That's what you're supposed to do when it's 4-on-1. So like I'm here for it.
And you know, now that you mentioned that, one thing that I didn't like about the Tegan Nox Dakota Kai match was that Tegan was the one that asked for this cage match, and she kept multiple times trying to escape the cage, pin Dakota Kai inside the cage, beat her inside the ring. Like, why are you trying to escape? I hate it when baby faces are the ones to escape the cage. The baby face should never want to leave the cage. They should always be the ones to want to end things inside, and it should be the heel trying to weasel them their way out.
I hate escape shit anyway because it makes no sense anyway. Like the door's right there. Why would you take all that extra time trying to climb where you can literally just walk out the door?
Yeah, I know. I think it only really makes sense when the heel is trying to escape, and unless the door is compromised in some kind of way, then you should start climbing. But the door is right there; just walk through it.
Unless it's like some like Undertaker versus like Daniel Bryan stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like guy versus little guy. I don't mind the little guy jumping over his head or like jumping out of the way trying to climb out.
Right,
like,
right.
For the most part, like bro, like I think the escape part is ass. Like I always have. Even as a kid, I'm like,
I mean, it's fun in video games, but it doesn't make too much sense in the actual like story of a wrestling show.
No, but I mean, I'm here for it all. Like I said, I called this. I didn't think it would be this sooner, like coming up. But I've always thought from the beginning, like this was the plan, was Velveteen versus Adam Cole,
right?
For Mania weekend. Like I know a lot of things got in the way. Like I said, Keith Lee's rising, him getting hurt and being gone so long, the Survivor Series bullshit. But I think at the end of the day, this was the plan to begin with.
Definitely, man, for sure. Like agreeing with you, going to your take, I did feel like they fast tracked this part of the story, but you know what? It was good. I liked it, and I would have really just disliked the fact if they just did another cage match a couple weeks later, because it would have felt like they're just doing cage matches to one up AEW, and right. This made sense. This just was Velveteen Dream again, thinking ahead, being the master tactician, and he's like, okay, there's gonna be a cage. This would be the perfect opportunity to get Adam Cole by himself, and maybe that was his plan the whole time. And I liked it. There was a reason for it, and I'm with it. It looks. The thing that I like going into this episode of NXT is we're getting a clearer picture of what TakeOver Tampa is going to look like. We're going to have a multi-woman ladder match. Chelsea Green's going to be one of the competitors. Maybe you have Dakota Kai has to be in that match. The question is whether or not Tegan Nox will also be in it. Mia Yim could be thrown in there. It looks like Keith Lee might have like a fatal four-way or triple threat match for that title, if not just a straight-up match against Damian Priest while he takes on Cameron Grimes in the meantime. You look like maybe Austin Theory gets like a like pre-show match or something, or I don't know. We'll see what they do with Austin Theory. They're slowly building him up. The tag team division is getting hot. I know that's one thing we've been saying that NXT needed to work on. Broserweights and Grizzled Young Vets being added to NXT has really helped their tag team division, even though it feels like it's just like a band-aid on the problem and not an actual like solution. It feels like a short-term fix, not necessarily something that's going to work in the long term, because Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne should be singles guys going forward.
But I think that's where the Broserweights will come in, where you at least have a heel tag team for whenever you get wherever you throw together. At least you'll have a heel tag team for them to chase.
Right, for sure. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, TakeOver Tampa, it looks like it's shaping up very nicely. Dream, Cole, Keith Lee in the triple fatal four-way match. triple threat tag match, which is probably what we're gonna get at Takeover. Because if I'm not mistaken, Undisputed Era are gonna get a title shot against Broserweights next week. I think that's gonna have a run in by the Grizzly Young Vets. They're not gonna let that happen. They're gonna basically like, look, we're gonna get this title match whether you want it or not. We're not gonna let anyone else jump us in the line in the food chain. We're gonna get our title shot. Forget Undisputed Era. Forget Broserweights. We're gonna take what's ours. We're not gonna wait our turn. And I like that about Grizzly Young Vets. I'm getting behind them majorly. They're becoming one of my favorite acts in NXT.
Oh yeah, I wish that Gibson didn't talk as much like the other. Like I wish James got a little bit of time, but Gibson is next. Once if they ever give him a singles run, I mean, he's ready.
Yeah, we'll see. So a lot of good stuff on tonight's episode of NXT. I really liked it. The only gripe I would say is I would have liked to see Shotzi get a little bit more time in the ring with Chelsea Green. It looks like their match was maybe cut short a little bit. It wasn't the best, but I know they'll be okay. Chelsea Green's moving on to the ladder match. Shotzi is getting over with the crowd. She's not going anywhere. She's the top act on NXT. She's just going to take her time to get to the title eventually. But that was tonight's show. I think this is the perfect way to close things off. Any final thing you wanted to add before we, sign off?
I'm good. Like I said, great show. Definitely glad that we got like a clearer picture, like you said, of what TakeOver is going to be. So definitely look forward to next week.
All right, for sure. Same with us. And again, guys, giving you another reminder, if you're listening to us on the audio realm, make sure you give this podcast a review and a 5-star rating. If you're on Apple Podcasts, give the episode a download because it helps, the algorithm, helps our exposure, it helps us get out there so we can get more content for you guys. If you're on YouTube, give it a subscribe, like it, give it a comment down below. What was your favorite match into the night? What do you think about the NXT show tonight? Let us know what was your favorite match and everything like that. Are you guys warming up to Austin Theory like we are? Let us know in the comment section below. Or you can talk to us on our Discord, Smack Raw Pod. Our Facebook and Instagram, at Smack Raw Podcast. Just look it up. Twitter, at Smack Raw Pod. At SCS Vince for me. Mr. 8984 for Aaron Real Petty. And check out the Mean Jelly Bean YouTube channel. Check that out. And we'll see you guys on the next week's episode for more NXT. Catch you guys later, all right?